for this computer. There we go. All right, so Mr. Coons, you have the floor, my friend.
Yes, how's everybody doing? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good, thank you.
All right, wonderful. Basically, I have put some plans into the town, contemplating a potential indoor basketball facility. Might also have some volleyball, but right now I understand it's just going to be indoor basketball. It's a gentleman that has been running indoor basketball in one of the neighboring towns for a long time. And he and I have discussed building him a facility that he can bring his business to Berlin and teach kids basketball and run his leagues in a new facility right in front of 504 Rod Road.
So the Indolux building is back here. It has the multi-tenants, complete sheet metals up there. This is the spot that would be essentially behind the large row of trees. It's kind of down in the dip. So currently not visible from the road. This is a parcel also owned by Bill Coons and the 504 Rod group. So you're looking at about 22,000 square foot indoor sports complex. Essentially, are you moving the road at all, Bill? I remember you were talking about that before. Is the road staying about where it was? The driveway.
No, it's actually, the driveway is going to stay where it is. Kind of, like Jeff Mashaw did with his nice building that he built for the sheet metal company.
Yep.
You're now going to have a building really just adjacent to it, right across the main entryway to the building. You'll have a sports complex where, a lot of people would be playing basketball inside. So we kind of designed it in a fashion so that the building is facing more out towards where you can see the road, for at least from one direction, because the hill restricts viewing from the other direction, and kind of gives a nice safe parking lot. And I think will make the building look even more attractive, at least from the front, and then give us the ability to kind of clean up the back even more as we've been headed in that direction over recent years.
Perfect. I am pulling up, if I can do this here, an aerial. So let's see here. Give me a second. I'm trying to share the screen here, Bill. Hold on 1 second. Let me share screen.
Yeah, and
So,
you have
all right. All right.
you have a
So,
copy of the site so people can see the facility?
yep. So we're talking about the lot right here, correct?
You are.
Yep. Okay. So the lot is right here, guys. So what we're looking at is in the rear is the 504 Rod. This lot here is where complete sheet metal is. So it'd be essentially across the driveway on this parcel right here. So essentially it is a parcel that is currently largely shaded by the trees. I am going to grab another layer here if I can figure out this thing. Go. Just going to pull elevation data because I've been curious to know what the difference is. So yeah, so the road looks like it's at 125, and then where the building is going to be is at like 75 to 80.
There's about 3 acres there, right, in that area?
Yeah, there's about 3.5 acres. And then there's definitely gonna be some, it's gonna have to be a nice retaining wall there, and there might even be some blasting. We just don't know until you get into the dirt.
Yep.
Probably right there.
At what elevation is there going to be the retaining wall? And how high is that retaining wall?
It's going to be, it's on the plan, and I just don't have the plan in front of me right now. I believe it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 18 feet, but it'll be tiered,
So
and it'll be
Are you keeping that kind of going along with the road?
Up that, you know, you flip the next couple pages may show the
Where's the abutting property?
Yeah, so the building's kind of being asked to be designed in a two-phase. We're looking to get approved just shy 30,000 square feet.
It's at 604 right behind.
Say 3,000.
So it's a floor, so you're retaining those guys.
Well, a couple pages see if it shows the retaining wall, because I think there's a landscape. Yeah. Tables, they're here.
So close. Up in that corner.
Yeah.
This retaining-
Yep. So, Bill, it looks like the retaining wall is kind of in the corner.
It is, and that's also why, you know, that could also be where we're blasting, so it's gonna be, you know, not really retaining a lot of stuff if that's all ledge in there that we're blasting, but we're still be required to do it and it'll look pretty. But that'll be the corner, so if you were staring at the street, it would be in the right-hand corner, closest to the street.
So how much of that tree line along Fort Rod are you keeping, or is that all gonna be out of it?
Most of it'll be gone, but it only will be gone to the level of acreage of the 3.5 acres. So you're still gonna have the tree line up on top of the hill, and let's call it, if you were driving down that hill, probably halfway, because we had asked before and were granted the ability to spin off about 1.5 acres back to 500 4-rod. So it made the 500 4-rod legacy property a little bit bigger. And it was used really for my father's business as kind of an area where we had constructed earlier, and now we've pulled all the permits and we're compliant in that area. But that area will always keep the tree line. It's great for privacy. But the area that's there now, all those trees will go, because that'll be a building sitting right there in a parking lot. But it'll only go for that 3.5 acres. The other 1.5 acres, we're not going to touch any of the trees.
Bill, the little box I put in here, does that look maybe approximately where it might be?
No, it would be, well, those trees would go because that's more or less the parking. Do you have the copy of the print that we submitted?
I'm just trying to get an idea of where the building is. It may not necessarily be there. I'm actually working.
Back. It'll be towards the other building.
Down to the bottom of the screen.
So like
Yeah, there you go.
here, okay. So
Yeah, now if you,
more like there then, because it's closer into. Okay.
yeah, the building will be pushed away from the street. The street, we're gonna do the parking in front of the building so that when you do drive by, you'll see the building a little set back, and then you'll have parking in front.
Show parking in front of the back over there.
Well,
Kind of like Jeff has his little parking in front.
Yep.
It'll be similar, but not quite as close to the road as he has it.
Gotcha. Gentlemen, have any questions?
Is it just strictly gonna be inside basketball or outside as well?
No, just inside.
Snack bar or anything like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
he will model it just like the one that he has presently.
So as far as the zoning, you do have a highlight still in there, is that correct?
We do still have highlight there.
Yeah, okay. Was that a special permit or or is it now allowed in that zone,
I
recreational or?
believe indoor recreation is a special permit, yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I believe Highlight got a special permit, and it's my belief that the basketball will have to get a special permit.
okay. I'm good.
All right.
It's good to see that get developed.
Thank you, Bill. Do you guys want to take any action now? Do you want to, actually, we could probably hold off until we get to the, planning and zoning. Thank you, Bill. We're gonna discuss this a little bit later. No questions at the moment, but it looks very cool.
Yeah, and everyone, if you want, because this kind of came up a little later for my schedule, because I can always be there in person and talk to you and even introduce you to the gentleman who's been running the facility and the other location who's going to be running this one. We're always happy to come by and say hello. And if it's something that everyone doesn't like, I guess now's the time we should know so that we could certainly pass that information along. But we're all excited about it if you can't tell.
Bill, I have another question. What thickness is the floor gonna be there? And are you going to pour a little thicker floor just in case you use it for industrial down the road?
It's funny, we're going to be pouring a very thick floor. We're going to be doing a concrete floor at the request of the basketball guys, because the facility they're in now is not a hard floor, and it's caused them issues with their courts. So one of the things they wanted from us was a concrete floor that they could put their, they have to put a kind of a moisture barrier, but then they put their wood court on top of the hard concrete floor. And yes would be the answer. I didn't fight them on it because what if one day it turned into industrial? But I just don't see it. I mean, this is going to be designed with the high ceilings. It's going to be designed with the span so that you can have, whether it's basketball, baseball, soccer, have some type of indoor facility there. And we certainly saw a trend in this last 2 years, because everybody may or may not remember the old bio pellet incubated out of our space at 500 Forrod. And their space in back was the highest ceilings in our building. And we've had basketball people come in, baseball people come in. We had baseball guys who really wanted to rent it. And it seems like there is a pattern and a trend out there and a demand for these facilities that have these very high ceilings and don't have like a post that you could run into if you're playing. So I do think it'll end up staying an indoor facility, but it's always, if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I do think it will end up staying that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Bill.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day. And if anybody needs to reach me, Chris, you always know how to get me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, want to take over that? We're not on target.
We just did Forrod Road, give a brief presentation on a indoor sports complex, about 22,000 square feet, which would be in front of 500 Forrod, which is the Indulux building. You had complete sheet metal went up in one corner there. They're going to be kind of in the vacant lot in the center. Is what they're looking to propose there, and that's kind of what that was. Jeff is there, or Susan, or I'm just not sure if you'd like to discuss H2O Farm Berlin, or if you'd like me to wait a little bit, it's up to you. I'm pretty sure Jeff is here for that, but I don't currently see Jeff.
Hey, Chris, it looks like Jeff stepped away for a minute. Do you want to come back to us? No, I'm here.
Up there's Jeff.
There he is.
There's Jeff.
I'm not in San Francisco,
Oh, no
I wish I-
problem. Thank
but I
thank you
wish I
very much.
was.
So if you want to briefly explain, I'm opening the plans right now on the table for the project at 2107 Chamberlain Highway. You do have smaller plans inside, but there's information on it. If you want to take a look at your packet. So, whoops, is there and then he was gone.
Hey, Chris, while we're waiting for Jeff to come back, do you want me to start? I can start.
Yeah, please, yeah, if you could just give a quick overview start, just on kind of what we're looking at, and Jeff can
Sure.
help us with any questions
here.
and such that we have.
Oh, Jeff, you're back. Okay. Jeff, why don't you
Yeah.
start then? If you need me, I'll jump back in.
Okay. So H2O Farms is owned by two Israeli companies, has been operating a hydroponic farm in Guilford that has grown to about 2 acres, but cannot expand anymore in Guilford. So we have been looking for opportunities, given the market that is available to hydroponic produce in 2022. And if I could take a quick step back, most of the lettuce that we eat here in Connecticut comes from California. And it's grown in fields and it's shipped here by truck. It may take 3 to 5 days for it to get here. If you are a consumer of lettuce, you know that packaged lettuce lasts about 3 days. And a head of lettuce, at best, about a week. I brought from my refrigerator, I don't know if you can see this, but it's a clamshell of hydroponic Boston lettuce. And it will last 2 weeks and perhaps a little bit more. It's fresh, it's grown without chemicals. There is a significant reduction in the carbon footprint of buying lettuce locally, which is a much preferred method by consumers these days, particularly when you have farmers in the summer selling their produce. A lot of people look for that, will go to farm stands or, will go to their green if they have a Thursday or a Friday opportunity, and there's they set up farm stands locally in a number of towns. We have a demand that will take us to about a 9-acre site. We have put in, there's a 20-acre site on Chamberlain Highway. We're able to grow on about 9 to 9.5 acres. We have a site plan that has been submitted. We got a text amendment completed in December, and we submitted our site plan a couple weeks ago. We hope to be on the agenda of the Planning and Zoning Commission in October. We're working on our financing plan and our state permits. We hope to begin to submit state permits very soon. We have to wait for other state permits until local approvals occur. And we have a projected construction date, if everything runs smoothly, of spring, and we hope to be growing by the fall. Hydroponic farming is an industry that's going to grow in Connecticut. Given the proximity of Connecticut between Boston, the market for all kinds of produce will be significant. And the opportunity to create actually more than a project, but a hydroponic industry, and with jobs, could be a good new growth industry for Connecticut. Agriculture in Connecticut grows about 1% of the food we eat. And that's a very small amount. And we can really only grow during the spring to fall season. So when you look at the big players like Stop and Shop, ShopRite, Whole Foods, Zudo's, and others, they want to sign contracts that are a year or 2 or 3. And farmers only being able to grow in dirt can't do that in Connecticut. A head of lettuce grown outdoors in a farm will take 3 months plus to grow to a size that could be marketable. In an indoor facility that's at a constant temperature, that's monitored by computers, that doesn't use, by and large, doesn't use chemical fertilizers, can grow in 6 to 7 weeks. In Guilford, we ship out between 25 and 30,000 heads of lettuce a week on about 2 acres. And we could be growing a significant amount more if we had a bigger facility. That's just where the market is heading. So our hope is that we will get final approvals and be able to go to the building department with plans over the winter and be in construction late winter, early spring. You know, from a health perspective, it's fresher. It has more nutrients, particularly if you grow things other than lettuce, like microgreens, which are very rich in nutrients. We can grow herbs, we can grow microgreens, we can grow lettuce. And it is a phenomenal way to re-energize the agriculture industry in Connecticut. And it is the way to go. You see a lot of, in Cheshire and other communities, you see a lot of under glass plants that are growing year round, Wallingford as well. This is really produce, and it is the future. It's a 21st century farming future for Connecticut. So we're not a new company, we're an existing company who's just looking to expand, and we found a great site in Berlin that gets us to the market fairly quickly. We don't have our own transportation logistics operation. The retailers or wholesalers will come to us. We expect a maximum of 3 trucks a day. And they come and will fill up a 53-footer, sometimes 2-3 times a week, Stop and Shop, others. If you go into one of those larger retailers, you'll go into the produce section and you'll see a number of different brands of under glass hydroponic lettuce in what's called clamshells. They're plastic containers. And they taste better, they last longer, and they're in the same price range, perhaps just a bit higher, but not much, than, you know, normal lettuce that will sometimes last you only a few days. Brad, do you have some other things that might be helpful from a zoning perspective or a site perspective?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me just, Jeff, supplement a little bit what you just said, to give some perspective on the benefits of hydroponic lettuce. You know, as compared to soil, hydroponic lettuce uses 2 to 3 gallons less per head to grow the lettuce. So if you're thinking, so if you think about it, if you have 25,000 heads a week, that's a lot of water that is not being wasted and being used for farming. In addition to that, if you think about the comment that Jeff made about the trucking of the lettuce from the West Coast to the East Coast, the owners of H2O Farm, when I first started working with them, said to me, they said what they do is they take the best lettuce in California and they put it on the trucks because the bad lettuce can't make the trip. So the bad lettuce is kept on the West Coast and the good lettuce is shipped east. And by the time it gets east, it's bad lettuce. So everyone's eating bad lettuce in the country. So if you buy the hydroponic lettuce, you're buying better lettuce. In addition to that, the fact that you don't have to ship the lettuce from the West Coast to the East Coast for this kind of size facility saves about 500 tons of carbon emissions a year. So it's an extremely green way of growing our produce. And in fact, a lot of green investment companies are looking at greenhouses like this for their investments because they consider them to be renewable type projects. From a zoning perspective, we had the text amendment passed back in November, December of 2021. And we filed the site plan a couple of weeks ago in conformance with that text amendment. You know, one of the issues that was raised during the text amendment process was the water use on site. There was an aquifer that at the time we weren't sure how much of the water use we would need out of the aquifer. As it turns out, we entered into a letter of intent with the city of Meriden to use, they have a raw water pipeline that runs from the reservoirs in Berlin to Meriden Water that goes along Chamberlain Highway. It's not potable water, but we have an agreement with them to tap into that water line to use it for irrigation purposes. It's actually an existing connection that was closed off many years ago, and they've agreed to reopen it once we build the project. In addition to that, well, obviously we'll have to have a small well, but it would be nothing compared to other uses, just for the drinking water and other sanitary use on the property. So that's really what our plan is. I think Jeff, you hit on the traffic. I think the only other thing that is a little bit unique about this project is the stormwater system that we're going to install. It's going to be a system that's going to use an underground system that's going to be below the footing of the greenhouses. It's being designed by SLR, our engineering firm. And so it'll really minimize any kind of runoff, stormwater runoff. And in fact, if you look at the drainage report that was submitted, there really should be no effect from stormwater runoff to any of the neighboring properties. So it's quite an interesting system that they're going to put in place.
Stormwater is going to be underneath the building?
There's going to be a stormwater system that's going to be built underneath the buildings. Yeah.
One other point about water, and that is that we recycle all of the water in our facility. So if you were to come to Guilford, and by the way, you're all welcome to visit our Guilford facility and do a tour of it. it happens to be a 100-year-old greenhouse. So it's not as energy efficient. It's not as, it doesn't grow as efficiently as we would like because of it, because it's an old structure. But we recycle all water. So some of the water in the facility is many, many years old. We actually clean that water every day, but we recycle it. So it's not like we're refilling our system every day. It's just whatever the plants use, we do need to refresh the water. But it's a very efficient way of growing. And given our relationship with the town of Meriden to use that water, water will not be an issue, we hope, during the site planning process. I think we've effectively taken that off the table and will assure other residents in the area that their aquifer will remain for their, by and large, for their use.
Yeah, the other interesting part about that, Jeff, is to mention is that because it's all indoor, the water gets recycled. There's no leaching of pesticides into the ground from the facility. There's none of that happens because it all stays contained within the greenhouse. And in fact, because it's all indoors, the use of pesticide is actually less on this lettuce than there is on outdoor lettuce as well.
And most of the fertilizer we use is of an organic version, and not doesn't have environmental impact. So it's a very clean, sustainable facility. People will be hired locally to work in the facility, and we expect it to be a model that we hope we could expand upon as the market dictates. But the market is a strong market for hydroponic lettuce and other greens. And we'll use the facility for students. We'll open it up for tours for others. And if there is a farmer's market that over the spring and summer months, we'd be glad to participate in that as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for people to feel very comfortable with this facility in town.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Jeff, I did get your first name because it's up, and did I hear Jeff say Brad?
Yes.
Yes.
Brad, okay, thank you. So now
Fred Munchin, he's the attorney for the applicant.
okay. So Brad, obviously some folks here might have some questions. My name is Dave Sear. I'm on the commission here. Brad, you had just said that pesticide use is less at your plant than it might be outdoors. Is that correct? Did I understand that correct?
That's right. Because it's indoors, there's less need for the pesticides because bugs have a harder time getting in. In fact, we're going to be installing in the project they have in Guilford. The greenhouses are too old to put in a negative pressure system. In their normal operation like this, they actually put a double door system in, so that with a negative pressure, so that when you walk in, the air actually is blowing out, so that any bugs that would come in when you open the first door are kept out, and then you have to go, that has to close before the second door opens. So you have a double door system to keep any pests out.
Okay. All right, thank you. Jeff, when you opened up this evening, you said that there's no chemicals used on any of the lettuce that you grow. But Brad just said that you use pesticides. Trying to understand that.
By and large, because it's an enclosed facility, you don't get any bug infestation. And so there may be an occasional need to deal with a bug issue, but it's very rare. And the fact that the fertilizer is not it doesn't have any chemicals in it, it's all organic. It makes it a very clean facility.
Yeah, so unlike outdoor facilities that will put down pesticides on a regular basis, the indoor facilities like this will only put the pesticide down if it's necessary. So there could be no pesticides at all being used.
Right.
It's only if it's necessary to be used.
And I'd be glad to ask our production grower in Guilford how often he's had to do that, but it has not been very often. You know, if you recall, I think it was about a winter ago, there was an E. coli outbreak, and a lot of lettuce had to be taken from the market, from the marketplace because of an E. coli outbreak in the US, but not at H2O Farms. We couldn't sell enough lettuce during that period because we didn't have that issue. So for a variety of reasons, it's controlled agriculture. Everything is run by a computer. So the humidity, the temperature, all of that, and any problem is identified by computer. And if our manager is at home, his phone has a link to the computer system. So if there is an issue that comes up, it's immediately dealt with.
Okay.
But I will get back to Chris with after I have a conversation with Chaim Tovia, who is the manager in Guilford, and he will manage the operation as well in Berlin.
And, okay, thank you. Now, with respect to stormwater runoff, and you have indicated that your building will occupy 9 acres. Is that correct?
In 2 phases, yeah. We'll
phases.
build the first phase of about 4.5 to 5 acres in the first phase, and then we'll, as the contracts grow, we'll add the remaining. So we'll build in 2 phases. And
what happens to the stormwater once you collect it underground? And it goes underground. Where does the stormwater go?
So there is, no, I'm not good. There is a drainage. Now, we're not engineers, so but we do have a drainage report that was filed with the site plan submittal. So it's going to be so according to this, under the proposed conditions, increase in peak runoff rates are mitigated through storage in the stone layer beneath both greenhouses. And then discharge from each stone detention system is proposed to be controlled by a 24-inch nyloplast drain basin structure with a metal weir plate. That's what the drainage report says. I'm not an engineer, neither is Jeff, but that's what the drainage report is saying.
Do you use that water for your facility to feed the lettuce plants?
Jeff, I don't think we
originally-
are, right?
No, we are not at the moment, but originally when we didn't have a letter of intent with the Meriden Water District, in order to minimize the use of the aquifer, we were going to set up a rainwater collection system and use that water internally for growing purposes. But with access to the raw water pipeline, it's not necessary to do that rainwater collection system. But if for some reason we needed to use some of that water, we could. Because in other, one of the partners in H2O Farms is an Israeli company called Groponics, and they are a manufacturer of greenhouses. And so they have other systems around the world where they've done rainwater collection and use that water for their growing purposes. But because there's a raw water pipeline that runs along Chamberlain Highway, We don't need to deploy that kind of system, but if we needed to, we could.
So I guess you can understand my concern if you're using the rainwater runoff for 9 acres of land that might normally feed other brooks and streams and lakes and ponds, and you guys
Right.
use that, it's not available for what it was used for in the past.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. I would be glad.
No, but you can
to-
understand the point I'm
Sure.
making.
So does that stormwater water, once it goes beneath the
Everybody's windows
greenhouse,
are closed.
Goes back into the aquifer.
Horrid.
does it go into that retention pond in the northeast corner of the property, the plant?
That,
Does it leak
we may
into
have to
that
ask the
eventually?
engineers what happens to them, what happens to that, what happens to that rainwater. 'Cause like I said,
That's
we're not
very well-
we're not the engineers.
I know there's a retention pond in the northeast corner. I was wondering if that
Yeah.
water, once it goes through the stone beneath the greenhouse, if it leaks out into that retention pond eventually. It's gotta go someplace.
I don't know if it does, or I don't know if that retention pond is just for runoff for the rest of the property. So
We'd be
I
glad-
don't
we'd
know
be
the
glad
answer to that.
make, SLR, which is, they're located in Cheshire, former local company was bought by an international company. We'd be glad to make them available if this was an issue you wanted more information on, because they developed they developed the entire site plan and did all the engineering work, and they can give you a sense of
So
where-
when you engaged SLR and they came up with this plan regarding rainwater collection, had you entered or were you aware of the deal with Meriden, or that happened afterwards? Because I know that Brad had indicated that SLR has done this, fantastic design for stormwater retention. Was that because you had planned to use the stormwater for that 9-acre facility for your growing?
No, because that actually came when Meriden indicated that they would in fact enter into the LOI with us, because originally our thought was that we would have to have like gutters on and leaders on the building itself to capture it and then put it into holding tanks. When we found out we didn't have to do that, that's when they came up with the plan for the underneath drainage system.
Okay, all right, I understand that now. And explain to me, please, if you would, the arrangement with Meriden and with respect to where does that water actually come from that you're getting from Meriden? Where does this water come from? That's what I'd like to.
So Meriden has, I don't know where they're located, but Meriden has reservoirs in Berlin that feeds that pipe that then goes to the city of Meriden for treatment.
Something else that did that years ago. I have a couple questions. The retaining wall on the north side of the property, how tall is that gonna be?
I don't know the answer. Jeff, do you know the answer to that? Something I don't know the answer to.
The back retaining wall.
Yeah, on the north
Yeah.
side of the property?
Yeah, I don't have the height of that. It's in the it's in the site plan, I'm pretty sure.
We can get that answer for you from SLR.
We thought that we might be able to, because we have a 60% coverage ratio that's in the text amendment, we thought we might be able to build on that, the little L that's in the back portion, but the elevation is a little bit more than originally thought, so that's going to remain open space, just because it's not perfectly flat, and we really do need to have our greenhouses flat.
What type of materials are these greenhouses constructed of as far as their?
So it's a polycarbonate material that is the sort of the glass portion of it, and then the posts are, I believe they're probably aluminum or steel. I can't, again, I don't have the engineering piece.
Do they have any is there a reflection problem with that material at all?
No, I believe it's a sort of a non-glare material, and the one thing that we did put in the text amendment when we were discussing it with the town is, at one point, we thought we would do some lighting in the greenhouse, internally and not in any glass part of the greenhouse. Within the greenhouse, there'll be something called a head house. And that head house is a packing house, and it's connected to where the trucks would come in to pick up the lettuce. And we thought we would do some 10 layers of growing inside, but we decided not to do that. So, and we decided that anything done, we open up, our workers come in between 6 and 7 a.m. and they stay till about 3 p.m. and there's really no activity in the evening at all. So we put something in the text amendment that said there would never be any lighting past 7 p.m. and we would never start any lighting, if we ever did it, before 6 a.m.
So just to put things in perspective as far as the height of these are concerned, what is the overall height of these greenhouses compared to the chicken coops next door? No, seriously, it's a good comparison.
Yeah. The text amendment limits the height to 30 feet, but it could be slightly less, but we have a limitation on height.
And that was developed just because by the Planning and Zoning Commission when we were talking to them, because of the heights of the chicken coops.
Any idea what those heights are? Roughly, have you ever?
I don't, but we had originally talked about a 40-foot height, and we lowered it down when we were talking to them to 30 foot, so that it would be more in line with what the chicken coops are. But I don't know what the chicken coops are.
And also to create, to keep a view shed available in that part of town. That was an issue. People wanted to make sure that there was a view shed for people traveling and for neighbors.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners for these two gentlemen? I have a couple more questions for you, gentlemen. With respect to setbacks for your building, I believe that was modified in the text amendment.
Yes, 200 feet in the front. And if I'm not mistaken,
Like, was it 75 feet in the back?
70 feet in the back, I think. And I think we have some setbacks on each side. We have to build a fire road around the greenhouses. And so there's, I thought it was 40 feet on each side.
How many jobs do you anticipate creating in the town of Berlin as a result of this?
We think between 20 and 25.
Those are full-time positions?
Yes.
So this is a setback of the building.
So we're 200 feet setback on Chamberlain Highway, off the highway. And we will have plantings in the front, and I think there's plantings in the back. And I think we discussed, I can't remember if I think it includes a berm on some of the sides. Brad, do you?
I don't know if it does.
Yeah, since we're starting down the site path process right now, site plan process, if you would like SLR to come in on a Zoom at your next meeting to answer some of the more technical questions, we'd be glad to make them available. No problem. We want to be as transparent and work as cooperatively as we can with town officials, because we think it'll turn out to be a welcome addition to the town.
During the day when your plant is operating, is there any noise pollution? I don't know if there's conveyors, robots in there. I don't know what it looks like.
No,
No, so it all floats on water. So the plants actually float on the water itself. So there's no noise that comes from the facility.
Thank you.
we will have a combined heat. We hope we'll have a combined heat and power system on site. If we put it outdoors, it will be fully enclosed and there will be sound reduction, but we'll never meet the decibel. We'll always conform to the decibel limits of the town. It's more likely that we will put it inside the head house because we're going to need to heat the facility probably from mid-October through the end of March, early April. So we have to have a way to provide heat and electricity, and combined heat and power is the way to go. But it will not create any noise issues.
Mr. Chairman, I guess so we have some engineering questions, so.
One of our commissioners had indicated we have some engineering questions or possibly for our next meeting, or we'd like to, the gentleman would like to review the plans that we have in front of us a little further, and we'd love to hear back from you and talk at possibly our next meeting. Is that- You want the SLR, the engineering firm that designed stormwater, to come to if possible?
Yeah, because you mentioned 200-foot setback in front of the Chamber of Highways,
Right.
is that correct? So that would be what, lawn? Or is that where the
Is that-
building setback?
So with
So
respect to
that's where the
200-foot setback, is that all lawn or there's parking between?
There'll be some parking, yeah. Parking for employees
Yeah.
will be there. A loading dock for trucks that enter and pick up the lettuce will be in that area, but the building will not begin until that 200-foot area.
and that area will be all gravel, except for I think a small area near the loading dock is not going to be gravel because it has to be asphalt there, but almost the entire space will be gravel.
Yeah, and the fire road around the facility will also be gravel.
Correct.
So,
But again, SLR can answer, if we're gonna, Chris, if we're gonna have, if the commissioners would like us to bring SLR back at the next meeting, they can give you all the details on how they plan to do all that.
I think that'd be preferable, yeah. We'll probably hold a meeting in a couple weeks in October, so I will let you know.
Yeah.
What the date is.
Yeah, good. I mean, just I assume, Chris, if you give us 4 or 5 days notice, we can get them here.
Absolutely. No, that should not be a problem. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
thank you for
All right.
the opportunity to give you an initial presentation, and we'll be back to see you at your next meeting if that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Righty, Ms. Linda and Hunter, you are up. Thank you for your patience.
Hi, everybody. This is Linda.
Hello, Linda. Where was that?
I can't see the room too well. Can you guys hear me?
We can, okay. Hold on one second, Linda.
Sure.
Alrighty, so, okay, so why don't you introduce yourself and what you were looking to do?
Okay, great. So I'm Linda Iavana. I'm the CEO at CCARC over on Slater Road in New Britain. And we provide services, day services, employment services, and residential services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Most everybody is over the age of 21 that we provide services to, and can be up to, you know.
Peekaboo. Wasn't good. Welcome back, still muted. So, you're currently muted, Linda. We can't hear you, you're muted.
Okay, sorry, it must have brought me back in with that muted button. So, yeah, we're looking to expand our employment and day programs. We had a satellite program over on Myrtle Street in New Britain, and the building got sold. We're currently using space at the Greek Hall, and
It is bad weather, I will say. Yeah, no, it's pretty.
Hi, this is Hunter Mathena. Oh, never mind. I'll go back to pause.
I don't know what's going on, guys. Sorry, we've been having a lot of IT problems. So Hunter, you take over if I get cut out again. So I did write a little bit of a summary that may help if need be, but basically we help people with intellectual and developmental disabilities find jobs, and we support them once they have those jobs. There's a variety of different services. There's called transition services, group supported employment, individualized supported employment, and transition services is more like an internship program. But essentially the primary function is to have adults who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, to help them secure employment, to teach them skills so that they are employable, and to support them when they do have employment so that they're able to retain their job successfully. We do an awful lot more than that. We support, all of life's needs, whether it's residential, whether it's life skills, maybe it's social skills, the whole gambit of how a person with disabilities can live independently, live and work independently. And we propose to run our employment programs and a day program as well at that site of 1103 Chamberlain Highway in Berlin. And it would operate, staff would probably arrive, somewhat early in the morning, 7-ish. And individuals will arrive 8:30-ish, and programs are usually done by 2:30, 3 o'clock. Most staff are gone by 3:34. It is right now a Monday through Friday program. We do occasionally have employment sites that require people to be present on Saturdays and Sundays. The site that we run, think of it as, everybody kind of comes in and gets dropped off there. They get with their job coach and the group that they're going to be with, and they go out into the community. They'll go to the work site, or they'll go to the volunteer sites. And people who are in the building are broken into small groups with their direct support professionals, and they're led through a series of activities that help them to achieve their own personal goals throughout the day. It could be something like a yoga class, it could be an art class, it could be resume writing, it could be a whole host of different types of activities. Does that give a general idea of what we do? Think of like a school for specifically for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or think of, a safe place for people to go where they are cared for, and while they're there, they're working on increasing their independence.
Linda, a couple quick questions, excuse me, that were presented to me. What were the hours you would be operating at the Chamberlain Highway location?
So it would be primarily, program would open between 8 and 8:30, and it would close between 2:30 and 3. Staff would some staff would come as early as 7 to open the building up, and everybody's usually gone by about 4. There may be some evening, events if there's some sort of a program or a class or something like that, but those are not typical. Weekend hours are not typical.
And the transportation to the site, is it gonna be people driving? Is it I'm trying to think of you have a senior center bus. It's kind of the smaller version bus. Is that usually the transportation they have? I'm just thinking from a traffic perspective.
Yes, and so we have more people coming here. You'd probably have maybe, let's say initially 50 individuals receiving services there. Probably at the max would be, 80. We have 170 coming through here, 140 coming through here, plus, obviously more staff. There's never a backup on the road. It moves through smoothly, and that's the reason that we like that location, is because of that circular drop off right where the ramp is into the building. So it's an easy transition. It's maybe there's like a 20-minute time period where vans are dropping off, but there's never a backup, and I wouldn't expect a backup at all. I think that would be very, very rare. It is predominantly, it could be cars, families drop off as well. Part of our fleet is cars. It could be, like the Hartford Transit type buses that transport maybe 10 people, anywhere from 6 to 10. There's like Sienna vans as well. So it's a variety. It's not big school buses. It's not anything that would require like a livery license.
That makes sense. Safety, just a concern, the fact that there's a large drop off at the rear of the lot. And I wasn't sure if you were thinking about fencing or something in case someone, again, you'd hate to see someone get hurt and fall down the hill or anything. And I wasn't sure if that's something that you had thought about, or if that had come into the discussion at all.
Are you talking about the circular drive, like where the vans come in and off to the right side as you come in? There's a drop off, like up at the top where the main
drop off in the rear of the property behind the parking lot here. I'm just concerned if someone decided to take a walk, the fact that it drops off so much down here. I wasn't sure if you were thinking a fence or something, or you think that's not necessary.
I am not sure. I did not notice that drop off over there. We noticed a drop off in the circular drive where our individuals would be predominantly dropped off. We are having conversations. So the Department of Developmental Services is our primary funder.
Okay.
And they require a ramp from the lower entrance into the lower portion of the building. And so there would be drop off in either one of those locations. I can't imagine that individuals we serve would ever be over by that area. Staff would be parking there. I don't know. We'd have to have that evaluated if there was a fence required there. But had the church had problems with that?
No, it was more of a curiosity question. I don't think it is just, it was one of those things that had you thought about it, but no, that's good to give me, again, which is the big issue again was the safety. But like you said, it'll be employees parking below and clients being dropped off on top. So it sounds like that would take care of it to a large degree.
Hey, Chris, to speak to that concern, like right now on Myrtle Street, not a great area for people to be wandering around overall.
Yep.
That's never been an issue for them. The clients stay inside. They're not going out there. And additionally, from what I've looked at, and as far as the ramp requirements, I'm I'm thinking that the most feasible place to do a lower level drop off is gonna be at the front lower door, because it's a little bit higher.
And then most everything is done inside, correct? Inside the building, the only real time will be any noise would be probably drop off and pick up, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's. People would go outside to take a walk outside on a beautiful day, or, maybe there'd be a little basketball hoop or something. I mean, it's beautiful land, and I imagine that we would like to be able to take advantage of it, whether or not, people go for walks or, we wouldn't be holding, there wouldn't be 100 people outside, holding classes outside. But I think we would take advantage of the outdoors, and our individuals would, like to go out for a walk around the property.
Or lunch at a picnic table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just like any business would utilize their property for the enjoyment of their employees.
Yeah, and the question was just because it is kind of in a neighborhood, but it sounds like it's gonna be largely between that 7 and 4 o'clock time frame, and just.
And that
I'm
kind of
I'm more
activity
thinking
would-
a couple steps ahead is what I'm kind of thinking, is just
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
kind of activity would really probably be limited to even between 10 and 1, I would say mostly.
that's great. Those are the couple questions I had gotten. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions for Linda or Hunter?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, so currently the CCARC has this building under contract.
Yes.
That's correct.
You're a nonprofit funded by the state developmental services.
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that we have a transitions program in town?
Is that with the public school transition program?
Correct.
Yeah, actually, they refer people to us. So the transition program is working with students who are of age to attend public school, so up to age 22. They come to us after graduation.
Okay.
So we work closely together with transition programs.
Okay. And we have that for you guys who don't know, is that the.
So your
Y-
transition program would refer someone to us.
The Y next to,
More when they age out.
Y now.
Yes.
Now
Thank
the town owns it, they have a transition program for kids who 18 to 22 may technically graduate high school or may not to get into the workforce. I have one that comes in, learning skills and stuff. There's some of those sort of things. Good thing for children.
There were some more questions or?
No, but that was important to me because I know that program's pretty valuable in town. They work with you already.
Yeah, and I am not an employee of theirs. I volunteer to help out. I'm acting as their realtor in this. I've been helping them find a space, and I also live in town. I live on 1000 Orchard Road. I drive by here 2 to 3 times a day. I think it would be an increase to the overall, we'll call it social benefit of the town with just, the church is great. The church is 1 day a week. I like the fact that it brings some jobs in town, brings some more people into, the Dead Plaza over by Bella's, and brings a little more life to the downtown area for the restaurants. Maybe hopefully support another restaurant soon. In addition to what they do and who they help. I just see it as a win-win. I think it's going from nonprofit to nonprofit's great. It's it brings more to the community than the current usage does. From a economic standpoint, and it showcases our town a little bit, as well as expanding their footprint for helping families. So, as important as the town program is, when it when they age out and they come over to CCARC. You know, you've got some people that maybe it would have been a little bit too much of a drive to make it over by Stanley's headquarters there and more on the Farmington line of Newbury, and then helps additional families get the support and resources they need.
What was your name? I'm sorry.
My name is Hunter Mathena. I live in town.
So,
And I've been a long time kind of volunteer and supporter of them.
To answer your question, Ed, yes, they do fit. There is something which is not for profit and a couple other ones. I think the word is elementary, which is religious, so they fit under that for use.
So zoning's not an issue.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
No, but I do wanna, I know they said I'd like to kind of help grow once the transition to town. Yeah, talk to them.
All right. We'll probably hold it one day. Like October, we'll probably hold it probably like October 10th or so.
One other kind of positive I found as well, because I've been hunting for properties for them for some time. Another thing that I did like about this is there's no neighborhood there. They have one neighbor across the street, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I know there's other abutting properties, but it's very isolated. So I really don't see any real downside on this end from a town perspective as a resident.
Yeah, they school cross country to use that parking lot to go into there at the bicentennial park. It's not FYI, it doesn't mean anything.
Linda, if I might, please, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Question one is the demographic area that you serve. Do you serve the entire state of Connecticut?
No, we don't. So we're a local chapter. We serve Central Connecticut. There are other organizations, sister organizations that serve other areas. So for example, I came to CCARC from Mark Community Resources in Middlesex County, and they serve Middlesex County. We serve Central Connecticut. There's another organization that serves Meriden, Wallingford, Mid-State. And we all help one another. We refer individuals to one another. My programs might also be a little bit different. You know, maybe I specialize in a particular area that best meets a family's needs. So sometimes families come from outside our area just because they prefer our program, and vice versa. You might have someone from Berlin who wants to go to Middletown because they like their rooftop gardening program. I mean, it's people receiving services are allowed to choose their provider, even though each provider kind of has a designated geographic area that they predominantly work with.
The other question I have is if you were to move forward with this Berlin site, would you be closing eventually the sites that you currently have in Britain and moving those clients to the Berlin location?
Yeah, no. So our primary site is 950 Slater Road. And, you know, I'd be happy to give anybody a tour who would like to come and see what we're all about, if that would help you to, you know, be able to visualize what we would be proposing. And we're in a residential area now, like where we are across the street, there's a lot of residential. There's residential and there's a church next to us as well. But this is our primary location. The location on Chamberlain would be replacing the ancillary program site that we had on Myrtle Street, which is predominantly our employment program. And that, you know, CCARC Stereo, you know, in the past was well known for our day programs, and employment is a service that we're growing. is an employment first state. So, we're looking to provide the services that our constituency is looking for.
So I
But no.
guess- Okay, so you're not gonna be closing the other ones in favor of moving them to?
Not 950 Slater, no.
Okay, so the other question I have is how many acres is this site roughly? I'm sure you're
Give
aware.
me 30 seconds, I can pull it up over here.
I think it's like 6 acres.
6 acres.
So it's 6 acres. So, given the fact that you like to focus, this is a new area that CCRC is focusing on. And given the fact that you are potentially purchasing a property with 6 acres, is there plans in the back of your head to expand and build additional buildings on that site in the future?
I would not say that I don't have that far out of a plan. I think that the site, the reason that we like it is that it's ample program space for us. We're excited about the space because it allows us to do the various different programmatic things that we like. For example, there's a room downstairs that'll make a perfect music and arts room. But no, we have not had any conversations about that at all. And in fact, we're having conversations with other businesses who are potentially donating land to us that we could use for any growth purposes in the future.
I have a couple of questions. What is CCRC an acronym for? What does that stand for?
Well, it's an old acronym that's not really used anymore. So CCARC used to be Central Connecticut ARC, and the ARC is the Connecticut ARC is the advocacy lobbying arm of the organizations that serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. There's a state level and there's a national level. And so we're a local chapter of the Connecticut ARC, and CCARC is Central Connecticut ARC, or was. CCARC discontinued their membership with the Connecticut ARC years ago. I came in as the CEO just over a year ago, and we've since rejoined, but we do just go by CCARC. And ARC back in the day was, it's an acronym that's no longer politically correct.
I'm familiar with the CUNE organization in Merritt. Is this similar to the CUNE organization?
Yep, actually, Beth Fisher is a good friend, and we partner on a lot of initiatives. It's very similar. So CUNE, they provide predominantly employment services, not really a lot of day services, and they provide programs to both people with mental health diagnoses and people with IDD. We're exclusively IDD, intellectual and developmental disabilities. We do not provide services to people with mental health issues. So that's the only distinction. Similar models, though, similar models of service.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're all set, folks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Hunter.
Great.
you.
Thank
you.
Take the time, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good night. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
As well.
Richard is here. He's online.
She's filling the secretary.
Our secretary.
Chris,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I can't get my video going. That's the problem. I can see you talk, see everything else.
That's okay. We can hear your voice. That's the important thing, that we can hear you. Do you have any particular thoughts on any of the presentations that had come up or any feedback?
No, I think they were well covered. So no, I don't have any questions.
Perfect. So minutes of the June 2022 meeting, which is last time we met down in the Board of Education.
Okay, folks, minutes are in your package.
Since we-
Would you look at We were looking for a motion to approve the minutes of June 22nd, June 6th, 2022.
Yeah, everybody was there. Motion to approve.
Second somewhere,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes. Okay, item 4. For Chris.
Sure, so 504 Rod, that is the first presentation we had from Coleman McFarland, looking to construct a 22,000 square foot indoor facility for basketball and he said potentially other sports. He has an operator that is in another town who's moving his entire basically basketball operation here in town. Was looking for our support of this, which will be going to planning and zoning at the end of October.
Basketball only,
Something basketball, he may be bored, but right now the plan is basketball.
so this is going down the hill where Sean built his building to the left.
Yep, yeah, just to the left right across, actually, let me actually open this up, because you
No, you don't have to, I mean, you told me about it already, discussed it, so.
but yeah, so it's about 22,000 square feet, they're going to essentially, yeah, put it right there and then park around the building.
Who's the basketball program?
He didn't tell me.
I'll make a motion that we support this project. So zone for, it's gonna fit in there. That probably is more concerned with the retaining walls. Okay.
Yeah, I think closer to 4 Rod. So, okay, we don't need that. I think that already saw it starting. I don't know what they're doing. It seems to be a little bit more down, say, if you're going down. Yeah, he's gonna show parking all the way around that building. You open that up. Said no parking. That way. it should-
What is actually the front? The front.
Well, I would get a front where you pull in the driveway. And where you park, that would be the front of the building, the back of the building, would be facing the road forward. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But unless he plans on doing it different, you just open up that front page.
There's parking on both front and back.
Yeah, so. He said no.
What is the traffic?
I'll tell you, it's not gonna be compared to what you have going through there now. That's a busy road. Oh, you know why? Because you're coming from the center of town, going out the Burlington Turnpike. Heavy tractor trailer. Ready, question.
That's why I asked,
Likely to do something,
well, that's
you
why,
take that one sport out of it. I think that's feasible to do another project.
no, but I asked, that's why I asked who the pro AAU program is that he's bringing in. Is it a small, AU program with, 5 or 6 teams, or is it a full-blown program of boys, girls, AAU from age 8 to 18, or is it just, there are a lot of different programs out there. Some are very qualified, some are not.
What will be what we want?
You're gonna figure it better if you're gonna actually do it so it works.
It's 22,000 square feet. It's a basketball court. It's happening. Well, I don't know how many courts.
Seems more than that when you gotta run suicides.
Plus, how high is it gonna be? I mean, is it gonna be just a basketball court with,
Gonna have to be set like a gymnasium.
He was talking about that, but I mean.
the guy in Middletown redid that warehouse, and first they had baseball in there, which was really tight, and then they took everything out and put basketball courts in there. So I don't know, maybe that's the other thing,
And we did ask
Competition.
about spectators. Is there-
We said it was gonna have seating.
Yes.
I didn't say.
but you're gonna need parking. If you're having AAU and you got games in there, that means that you're having 6 teams at a time. That's how many parents, 12 players per team. Let's say not all the parents go, but you're talking 5, 6 cars per team. all day long. Those tournaments go from 8 in the morning until.
It does say in here that they're gonna use some other spaces for overflow.
That's what I'm thinking.
Your yard.
They're not gonna walk down the hill. Yeah, but I mean, he's showing parking all the way around. You know, there's a lot of, all depends what their activity. You go by there, there's a lot of vehicles here. I mean, that place is pretty well run.
Is there enough room?
Well, if you go to the right-hand side of that building, the old existing building, there's a lot of
So
parking spaces
This
there.
is a big hill right here. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah.
It's like, this is really pretty big.
It's a retaining wall on that side.
Yeah, and this corner,
Southeast corner.
there's a lot of rock. He might actually, I know where he was before. Where he dug out before, he did the ledge, and it's way that ridge line.
Oh, you're not too far, were you?
The ridge line kind of runs like this.
Well, I think the nice thing too is it's gonna be solid, so if basketball doesn't work, it definitely can be an industrial use.
Well, he said, yeah, but he was gonna have a thin floor, but I thought he, didn't he say it's like 17 feet or something?
Right?
You know, I apologize, I was like, I didn't really hear much of his presentation. Bob wasn't here, Bob
Right, he's got this.
understands sports better than I do, maybe most of us.
Yeah.
Is it possible that we can invite him back for a couple additional questions before we give our
I,
vote of support? Is that okay?
Is he already have a date with P and Z?
October 20th. So if we meet on either the 10th or the 17th, we'll be fine.
I mean, don't do it for me, but.
No, but you also wanted feedback for the person you want to talk about, the CCARC too, so I think that's a good idea. Plus, we asked the folks back here, they're gonna be either the 20th or November 3rd for the other guys, so.
So who's actually building this building, the basketball guy or the?
No.
The company?
Coons who owns the
Everyone
property.
owns this property?
Oh, and this fellow's gonna rent from him?
Yes, he is.
So there's a guy in town that runs a basketball program, and I'm just curious if there's
Just reach out to him and I just sell him and get back to me, so I don't know if he's busy or whatever, but that's fine. I will,
So what questions do we have for him if he's coming back?
parking, height,
I thought he was thinking of that across the thing.
ADU, fans.
and if that doesn't work, or this guy, you know, and I know that AU program's full, just like everything else, because, you know, they don't.
Can you give us a schedule, like, once he's underway, like, what's the schedule? All day Saturday, all day Sunday, you know, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Usually, and then every night they'll practice.
Every night, yeah.
I mean, they'll be busy. It'll be,
Okay, so parking, height, AAU, fans, calendar, and what I'll do is I'll invite it back and we can hit them with these questions.
yeah, I mean, if you don't think parking or traffic's gonna be a problem, I figured they go north, right? North Road, take a right, you're there.
But in return, you have industrial in that whole area.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, it's a good area for the industrial.
Yeah, but you could have a second shift very easily that would create traffic during that.
Oh, yeah.
area too. So as far as the use and so forth, I was more concerned with how they were gonna address the hill with the retaining walls.
Yeah. that's good.
Other than that,
Address it.
other than that, it's what, 3.5 acres.
Here, seen it earlier.
They're underneath, the excess of the little over a half acre is gonna be where their retaining walls are. And it's zoned for it. Yeah, it's already zoned for it,
Okay,
so.
so, well, I'll invite it back for the next meeting, which will probably be the 10th, I can verify that, but we're looking at parking, height, fans, calendar, and then if it's gonna be an AAU, are they gonna be there like all the time? Kind of like He said yes on the snack room.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's a snack
You
room.
gotta have hot dogs. No,
Maybe-
don't say.
Well, every place like that, has some kind of snack bar, you know, whether it's a hockey rink or whatever.
License.
No, you said also about soccer. too. You said about soccer.
Oh.
That's all.
Alrighty, so,
That would be a different service.
I know.
So CCARC will wait until next meeting because we're getting more feedback on that.
I just want to see what their opinion is of that.
That's fine. Do we have any initial thoughts on it or just wait until next meeting or?
Next question.
Normally, they're good programs. I know the one in Berlin is excellent. I know who runs it. I know it helps people.
It's literally what I did before I came here.
So
Was find out for these folks. So it's a great program and again.
You know, that lower level, if they do go down there, you know, outside, picnic, whatever, it's hidden the road, you know, as far as like a safety standpoint.
right, I think you're more worried about them being safe and not walking out. the channel.
Right, exactly.
Yep, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
80-something years old.
Do they get like, does CCARC buy the building or Department of Development?
No, they buy the building.
CCARC buys the building. What kind of price tag is this? 200 grand?
Three,
A million?
mid 300s.
Wow.
What is 300?
Lots of square feet.
Yeah, for 6 acres.
And
6
the
acres.
land may have some elevation in the back, but that's
So it's
great.
like a 350 ticket.
Yeah, 350 ticket. So Chamberlain Highway Agriculture, we're gonna ask for their engineer to come back for next meeting.
Yeah, and this is a little tricky.
Yeah,
Do they pay taxes?
actually, we can get electronic files.
I don't
We can
believe
kind
they
of go over those
Doesn't matter.
plans
It's valuable.
before the next meeting.
Yes, the greenhouse, it's gonna stay non-profit.
Stay non-profit.
It'll stay non-profit. is what I'm-
No revenue.
So,
But the greenhouse, all right, we're on the greenhouse
Yes.
now. But they already got the text amendment approved.
yes,
What do they need us for? Really, truthfully, it's all done, it's a done deal, isn't it?
well, then you turn it down.
Who, they can turn down the site plan. But the text amendment's already done.
But they can turn down the site plan if they want.
Planning and zoning.
Make changes, et cetera, yeah.
The other thing I see there, what planning and zoning might turn them down is they have the parking in the front, including their loading docks. Normally they want to have that.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna face.
Save our taxes. Because we live in a nice way. I would be the first one to period getting our tax. Because that's gonna change the whole complexion of that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we should also
People
find
think
out,
the chicken coop is nice, so when it's 10 times as wide, 5 times as long, same height, that's a big ass building.
I forgot, that's one question I should ask them too, is whether or not this is under 490 or ready to tax. Because I don't remember that as well.
Well, that's just it. I mean, yeah, is it come under the farmland?
That's what
Or
we're
is it
find
a
out.
commercial establishment?
And I can tell you the difference between because we grow both. It's not like growing in Nebraska, we've never had to put pesticides in chicory, lettuce. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know,
Is that
cutworms grow
chicken coop being
tomatoes, eggplants, peppers. they don't go after that.
You know what I have a concern with? This might sound selfish, but it's my Christmas trees. How is that gonna affect the growth of the
You're gonna
Christmas
get
trees?
pointed out over there, buddy, you're gonna be in the shadow.
I'm really concerned about the reflection of the sun off of these.
Already, our sports complex guy is available for a phone call. I can call him up if you'd like. Get these questions asked. Oh,
Man,
call him right there.
we got a lot of other things to talk about.
Hey there, Bill. Oh, there were a couple of questions, but what I'm thinking we may do is just kind of hold off till our next meeting. Because I want to kind of get my thoughts together, send you a couple of questions on what the commissioners had for questions. And then, yeah, because we'll probably hold our meeting, my guess is it'll probably be the 10th, which will still be between now and the meeting on the 20th. Already? Yeah, I'm taking, I'm taking notes right now, but I'll get those to you, and then that night, you can answer any questions. You can answer those questions, anything else they have. We're done. Thanks, bye. Alrighty, so Rogers Marketplace, this is a me thing. So we are getting a new concept that they have put out there. It is a half Dollar Tree, half Family Dollar. Literally walk up to it, and I got pictures if you want to see it, is go in, Dollar Tree to the right, Family Dollar to the left. I went to their store in Stratford. It had 8 aisles of grocery products, including a huge cooler. So it is not gonna necessarily offer us everything we need, but it's gonna be supermarket-ish. The good news is it has major brands in it, so it's not gonna be a pure dollar store. It is a relatively new concept. This is the biggest one they've done. So I don't know exactly the mix, but I'm hoping I can talk to somebody to find out what it is and the fact that it's not gonna be a regular basic dollar store, because I know that you guys on that side of town purely need supermarket stuff. So this is
Real quick stop.
somewhere in the middle.
Just gotta get people to support
But
it.
you gotta figure, I mean, the Family Dollar, you're going in buying, Scuppy peanut butter and Twistos, Oreos.
It wasn't, actually, everything was name brand.
Yeah.
My favorite picture is Campbell soup next to Sunkist tuna,
Okay.
and then all the cereal was name brand too. Yeah, I took like 35 pictures except for the phone is dead. So
What's the name of it?
It's literally co-branded. So you look up, it says Family Dollar, Dollar Tree. And yeah, it's a new concept they've done. They have one in Stratford, one in West Haven, the third one in Connecticut.
And so it's not like the one we had, Family Dollar, other side of town. That's good.
No, this one is completely different, much more upscale, and it actually feels like a supermarket when you walk into it. So really, I mean, it's like a big soda.
All
chips.
right. Yeah, why not?
It seems to be a good fit. I'm trying to talk
To
to.
buy in. They didn't want to go to Farmington because the buy-in was for 20 cents more. Then they complain when it's just that. It's like, come on, you gotta be smart. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We sat there, we tried. We didn't want to take any of the.
Yeah, it was more.
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah. How long is it gonna sit vacant?
That's what I agree.
So this is a done deal now? So they've entered in with Sussman to an arrangement.
They're working on it right now.
The good news is that I've actually been
I've
actually been dealing with somebody else, which has been nice. The other guy's actually been really good, really creative. His plan is to move Jenny Lee Nails over the other side, try to lease out the whole front side, which will be good. He has engaged an engineer at Bristol, looking at what other possibilities. Remember, he showed that plan that had like maybe a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through and a second building. Yeah. What I would love to do is, I don't know if I can do it or not, but I am gonna try to engage Todd DeGroff and see if he'd be interested in that little building there, because I know right now both CVS and Walgreens are not cutting it. If he did a small like pharmacy in that building, that might be an opportunity to bring him back to town.
Across the street with a Reading?
No.
Oh, right there.
Literally a standalone building.
Oh, a new building.
No,
They had the
yeah,
Dunkin'
right.
Donuts
Oh, I
there,
understand.
mobile station and had the other store.
Yeah, so instead of like a Popeye's chicken, it might be a Beacon Pharmacy.
It's a CVS.
I know, I like Popeyes.
You got a choice.
Yeah, it was Popeye's chicken. All the Popeye's chicken. Well, the big issue is gonna be the traffic flow. That's the biggest thing with food. But we'll see, maybe not.
Is the CVS on the turnpike closing?
My
Yes.
understanding is they may be closing, but we don't know whether or not it is
They're
for
gonna
a
leave.
remodel or for all time.
I'm here.
No, they put it on Facebook and it's done.
It's the private. Those are from the parent company. Center.
I call it the hidden CVS.
They just paid that parking lot.
Why they don't,
For somebody, it's a really nice 7 acres right there, the corner.
We're in the street, so fast actors.
Yes.
Very sticky line.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of stuff walking out the door.
so our back piece people never came back huh, with the,
Assisted living.
Well, basically, they had a site engineer go in and basically said that the land in the back was not compacted correctly and would need to basically be dug out and then recompacted. And the property owner basically said, you're full of it. I just think the site engineer wants to get more money and make more money. So conversation is there. So they're currently having discussions with other people and then again,
I could see the possibility there. Because where that side driveway is and where the hole used to be. Would you have any idea where that hole was? Was it back farther or?
Yeah, seemed to me it was right towards Episcopal Road.
Yeah, it was right by this.
Yeah, to the left side of the driveway, right around here, almost a little bit over towards.
Okay, so you take that driveway and this right here.
I'm trying to figure that
So
out.
there could be
Call our
stumps
CDC.
and everything in there.
So I would not.
The problem is.
Just lock him from corner to corner.
Well, the problem is the amount of money they wanted was twice as much as the rest.
Yeah.
He wanted 580, I want to say the market between 3 and 340.
Every
Until I made it down to 4 minutes for Brown, I crashed, you won't get it.
With no CVS, that's basically an empty 8,000 or 9,000 square foot building, so. Alrighty, so number 5, we're just gonna push it because we're not gonna do that until we make a decision on the property. So a couple different things that happened. National Sign did a second building. They purchased a portion of Merit large format printing. So they brought about 30 employees down here that basically doubled their size from like 24,000 square feet to 46,000 square feet, which is awesome. Sherwin-Williams, of course, opened up in Orsini's building. Dr. Mark DiLoretto went into the old eye doctor space on Main Street. ERA Hart Sargis Breen was purchased by a larger entity, which is in the plaza next to Kensington Market. Ambiance Stone purchased a vacant lot.
They just purchased that again, at ERA Hart. Or is that when they purchased it from
Yeah, this is.
down the street?
No, well, they moved it from down the street, but ERA Hart actually purchased the actual franchise.
Last meeting, so this is happening.
And then Ambiance Stone essentially opened in across from Forest Machine, and then Betterville Basements is opening a showroom for kitchens and baths, I think it is, in the other half of the building. Dairy Queen essentially was just kind of a, hey, check us out, we got our new look. Prism Academy, this is the school for autistic children that is the old Mullen Hill School. So that's very cool. They'll be buying the building hopefully the next couple of months. JMB Plumbing, which is Jason Borcell, who bought the building right at the corner of Camelback and Kensington Road. Artesian Building and Roofing, which is the old manufacturing building on Deming Road. Full Circle Golf, which is the virtual golf, that is the first building on the right, that brand new construction, we're going down Deming right next to the landfill. Cater Insurance took one of the vacant spots down next to Uncle D's. We also started our milestone awards, starting 3 Mondays ago. Every Monday, we're doing a milestone award. If you did a major milestone in 2021, 22, 25 years and above, basically ending in a 5 or a 0, we're essentially giving you a plaque and recognizing you. So Attorney Rick Pentor, 45 years in practice, Jakinski Humes, 25 years in business, Fortunato Construction, 30 years in business. So if you know of anybody that I should be looking at, let me know. Try to get as many of these as we can. The good thing is Imperial Trophy, which was in New Britain for 60 years, bought the condo where Amity Printing used to be. So now Imperial Trophy is rolling company, which is kind of cool. So she's been
Did
great.
they move in yet?
They did. They just won't let anybody in the door, basically.
Where's that?
Right next to the old red barn that's now the gray barn. So it's the last condo unit.
I see,
On the
compared to Ventura Plaza.
Yeah, the little.
Oh.
They changing names now.
So they're in there, but they're not.
They're in there, but they're not ready to have really the public. I mean, you can go in and pick up stuff and stuff, but I mean, most everything I've done is just been electronic. Put this together. It's kind of nice. It's a nice little, actually, grab one and show you guys how that thing works.
Right. They really. Brian.
Brian.
Fritco.
Oh, I never know.
Yeah, there was some Parkinson.
They let, he brought a ton of business to those guys.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make
And
a
then the
franchise,
caregivers
so.
go tomorrow for 6 days.
so they got
Stepping in.
express.
Yeah.
That'd be 24/7
Brian
for
likes
6
dogs.
Hey, how many years old is Cambridge? 70?
How long have you
Too
owned
old.
Yeah.
it? How long have you owned it? 35, there you go, ends on a 5.
Oh, 70 years.
70 years in business.
So Town of Berlin Milestone Award, this one is to Royce Tool. Congratulations on your 60 years of dedication and service to the Town of Berlin, Central Connecticut. We appreciate all you do as a vital member of our community. Mayor Mark Kaczynski, 2022. So nice thing is too, for a relatively small investment, we're able to say thank you.
Is that the next one?
Oh, I think they're the next one or one coming down the road. But the nice thing too is this gives us an opportunity largely to thank companies a la Cambridge that helped us kind of get through COVID, because most of these are companies that never stopped working, and it's a lot of cool stuff from a couple of years to a whole lot. And my list keeps expanding, which is cool. So the three I just found out about was Burl Steel's 120 years, Tyler Equipment's 100 years, and Cutting Edge is 35 years.
Oh, you did.
We did your next stuff. They're all done by Bird. Nice job. They did not. Marketing, last thing here, appreciation event. It's all in a real launch party, which is next Monday, 4:30 p.m. If you have not signed up, if you would do so, we're gonna have some name tags. The idea is gonna be a couple different things. One, to celebrate all the companies that ended up growing during COVID.
I'll be out of town.
Where is it?
It's gonna be at the Trump Bar. The first beverage and the first slice of pizza is on me,
Not this time.
on the budget anyway. And then we're gonna have a nice little like 3-minute video to kind of talk about kind of what we're doing, and really the hope would be is at the end of this, people kind of leave and spread the word about all the great stuff happening in Berlin. And it's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I give people a lot of credit. I wouldn't start a business when the times are good. To do it in the middle of COVID, it's amazing.
Yeah.
No, stealing chocolate, chocolate world.
That's right, everlasting gobstoppers.
Okay, folks, we're on to commissioner comments. Anything?
We're all a very, very good looking group, man.
What else is going on, Chris? What did I just drive by today? Oh, what's Tasca doing?
Tasca is finally going to be constructing, it's about a 30,000 square foot truck service and sales.
30,000.
I think it's about 30,000, yeah. They have one down in Cranston. That was the one where they were looking to do it in the front building, but the front building had all the contamination, so they just kind of pushed it back on the site. Hopefully we'll do a groundbreaking soon on that.
So is there another mixed use proposed on the Turnpike?
Behind ABC Supply, 160 days.
Okay, but how, where is the commercial gonna be?
The ABC Supply.
Over that.
Who owns the front piece where the bar used to be? ABC?
Yeah, the whole, no, it's actually, it's owned by two of the partners in Collier, Dow and Colliers in Hartford Real Estate. They own the whole thing.
Oh,
They leased ABC.
So ABC's leaving?
No, ABC stayed.
so the driveway would be through the ABC
I think it's gonna be to the right of ABC from the blacktop area there down.
and that's still dry.
I was just about to say the same exact thing. There's no way that's not why.
I don't know, but I believe that the town had asked for third-party assistance, which is like an outside engineering company to look at it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They, the way I look at this is they kind of slid in the side door. So instead of new development, they said, well, we have commercial. And I don't think there was a way to say no, if you will. Because I don't think
What's
anybody,
their plan?
106 units behind ABC Supply Apartments.
So
That's
they're
it.
trying to say ABC is already the commercial. And then allows them to put the condos or whatever in the back.
I believe that is the argument, yes.
Those are-
To this day, nobody has ever spoken to me about it.
Okay.
And it's only been in the works for about 9 months.
Because I'm trying to figure if where they're gonna put the repair garage in the front. It would be the commercial and the back section, which is how many acres? 4 acres?
I don't even know how big it is
Yeah,
actually.
something like that.
I think we gotta check.
See, if they want to say that ABC, that's not a new development, that's an existing structure. So that's, how can they use that as a proposal?
I don't know what the language said, but apparently.
And what's a shame is that back piece is prime for industrial. That needs to be all warehouse and so forth.
Yes,
No, that's supposedly that area
So who did all that work?
Yeah.
Was it Eversource that did all the work with the lines and everything and took it out?
Yeah, right here's the power lines right here, yes. Yep, so I mean, it is zone BT1, so it is still eligible for
anything.
what they're talking about. So essentially,
So ABC is,
Oh,
so ABC is just used as retail or?
yep, so this is what, 12 whatever acres, and so my guess is they're gonna combine the lots.
so you're talking, so the old Pizzazz place was right where your first well? No. Yeah, that's where it was. Okay, so they got land behind that.
Yep.
There's a brook there, I know that, right?
See it right there.
That's just about.
That's
See that where the greenery is.
It's a bay, right?
that is the property line right on the water, but yeah, so it'd be 1, 2,
We don't know where it switches.
3 different parcels would be, I think it's like 502,
They own all that?
522, and 554. Yes, they own all 3 pieces.
So we really don't know what their intent is.
Other than the 106 units? No, that's all that I've seen. I have not even seen one of these yet. No, I get one of these, the planning and zoning department now, anytime there's a plan, I have not seen one, so I do not know. Ironically enough, I know both principals professionally, and the fact that I haven't heard a word, I just find to be very strange. But this what it is.
Yeah, okay, and well, how many acres in the back piece? 4, you said?
12.
Huh?
It's 12.61 acres, but it's a funky lot, because you look at it, it goes
Oh, yeah.
all the way up and around.
I see what you mean.
But it is,
Who owns behind that? It's not a problem.
that is the water company, so yes, it's not really. But yeah, if you look at the whole thing, I mean, it's
It
a,
used to be fast now, kid.
it's a pretty big lot. Yeah, this, if you look at this here, this is where you're talking about Eversource. These are all the pads and stuff that Eversource used to get to the lines.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
Let me do
So
that again.
what would be the
What
motivation
are
for them
those
to try to
pads?
circumvent?
That's private property, but Eversource has
Right
pads
away.
on it?
yes,
It's gonna be right away.
Oh,
And
so
they-
they can use that for parking?
No, well, they're building.
yeah, I mean, Eversource owns this. My guess is they're either got an easement or paying some kind of money for them to use the land here to get to the lines.
I notice now that they do allow parking underneath their high tension.
But those are, those pads are all gone.
Oh, they are?
They were just using for set new holes.
I think they saw the rules and went, hey, we can do this. I would almost guarantee they're gonna get this approved and they're gonna sell it to somebody because they're not apartment developers. They're industrial.
They'll do that. They'll get their money all up front, then they'll sell it.
But they can easily put industrial there and fill it up.
They could.
I just don't know where the dollars are.
BT1 would allow it.
So you're talking some low income.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
don't
we
know.
gotta make sure it's wet.
I don't know who would want to live behind the ABC supply,
Yeah.
By the high tension line.
but let's see here.
Yeah, under the high tension lines.
Give them a large charge.
Let's see here, so this is 50, let's see, the road's 55, the low is,
You know what?
it's actually pretty flat. The low part on the lot, it actually goes kind of like this for, what's it called? Because you look at it,
It's
it's
private property. No, it's okay. He told me it's okay.
That's the whole
And their house.
Probably wouldn't walk.
Yeah, I guess so.
Remember, right of way. It's the owner.
Okay.
Anything else from the commissioners?
No.
Looking for a motion, folks?
One second.
Mr. Sisti,
And we need to do a special. Remember the shop we put up on the Berlin Turnpike? Can we do a blurb, because all my neighbors keep calling it Mick Barber.
Yeah, I know.
Instead of MC Barber, Mick Barber.
Valley would be great then.
What?
all those in
That's what
favor
it
say
looks like.
aye.
Should have put
Aye.
Aye,
there.
opposed, same. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Richard, thank you, Susan, good night all.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
That's just what it looks like.
My
Oh, yeah.
neighbors- Yeah, yeah.
He's always